good morning, and welcome to my Monday messages. It's that time of year, and I want to talk this morning about how I'm noticing that many of my clients can feel a really strong sense of overwhelm at this time of year. And a lot of it, when you dig deep, is completely unnecessary. Um, it's often centered around the burden or that is felt around gift giving and not having enough money to purchase gifts that we want to give or that we perceive we ought to be giving, we should be giving. It's expected of us. And it seems to me that there's an awful lot of pressure around that. And obviously, the retailers are, this is their time of year and they are going full guns blazing to get as many people buying as possible. And obviously, that isn't just about gifts, it's about food, and it's about, as I spoke to before, about, needing to have all new things just because it's Christmas. Consumerism gone completely bananas. But just sticking with the gift giving, I'm interested to hear what your definition of, the true spirit of gift giving actually is. Because for me, it is when we take the time to choose something that we know the recipient will derive pleasure from, will get joy from, will feel something. And mostly that's about an expression of me knowing that person well enough to be able to choose something that I know will light them up, even briefly, and has nothing to do with the amount of money spent. Is much more about the thought that's gone into it. I mean, for me personally, there's an element of creativity in that. That's often come from actually not having a huge budget, and I'm grateful for that. But I wanted to just delve into a re-examination of what feelings we are seeking when we go into that habitual behaviour often of gift giving. Because often we can be buying gifts for people that we have very little connection with anymore, who maybe once we did, but we don't really anymore, and we just feel we ought to because we've always done it. Or, just that can spread across the whole of our gift giving, that, oh, don't really care what it is, just get something. And I want to just ask all of us really to have a look at that from our values point of view. So what are our values around gift giving? What are our values generally, actually? And are we sticking to them when it comes to gift giving, or do we allow those values or those boundaries to be transgressed because we've got to get something, and the only place we can get it is the place that we don't normally shop at? And do we break there? So let's see, am I online? Yes, I am back again. So yeah, just talking about the becoming conscious of what feelings can lie behind our feeling obligated to buy gifts, and to buy gifts of a certain value even. It ultimately can be because it's fear driven, that we're frightened that if we don't buy a gift for that person, that we won't feel loved by them. That kind of stemmed from some childhood experience and is still playing out now. I don't know. It can also be part of our need to feel connected to a group, or to be accepted by certain family members or whatever. It's just, that's what you do. You have to buy a gift. You have to buy a gift because otherwise people will judge you. And that, to me, it's completely your call. All of our calls. It's up to us, really, how we behave. But if there's any sense of this is actually just too much now, and it may be too much financially, it may be just too much in terms of you not wanting to buy into that kind of consumerism frenzy anymore, then it is worth just stripping it down and asking ourselves, well, what am I afraid will happen if I don't do that behaviour? And I've just put a set of questions that you might find useful to ask yourselves when you're just thinking about the gifts that you're buying this year, buying or making, or whatever you're doing. This might not be an issue for you at all. You might have it completely sorted, and I'm more than happy with all the gift-giving habits that I do, and I don't get into debt, and I don't, feel anything other than deep pleasure and joy when I give gifts, in which case, fabulous. But I just wanted to encourage a little bit of exploration around any habits around gift giving, and also to remind you of the impact of a really powerful gift. I'm reminded of my late mother-in-law, who a few years ago, actually, I asked her, you've lived a long, long time. You've had many gifts over the years. What is the one gift that gave you more pleasure and joy than anything else? And without any hesitation, she just said, oh, I remember when I was a child, I was given a pair of red, shiny Wellington boots. And I absolutely loved them. I didn't take them off. I even wore them to bed. And then she went on to explain that actually at that time, she didn't have any shoes. And that gift was so precious to her that it remained in her consciousness for the whole of her life. And I thought, you know what? She's had so many gifts over the years, and for that to stand out, that really, really impacted her deeply. And that's not something that would have cost a lot of money, or was particularly valuable to anybody else. But to her, it meant everything. And I don't know who gave them to her. I'm not sure. I think it probably was her parents. But so I just wanted to actually invite us all to reconnect with what true gift giving is all about. And for me, that is about the gift to us, the exchange, if you like, is that connection with somebody else, that witnessing of the pleasure, the joy, the feeling that is invoked by that thing, whatever it is. And it doesn't even have to be a thing. It could be just, you know what? I know you really need somebody to go and do your gardening. And my gift to you is I'm going to come and do that for you. Be creative. I think often our creativity is undervalued at these times. And we don't have to spend loads of money on giving gifts that are of huge value to very many of us. So, and I don't mean this to sound like some kind of lecture or anything. It was just an invitation to actually look at your own habits and ask yourself, how is this working for me? Do I spend every January in debt trying to pay the credit card off because, I've just overspent and, everybody's forgotten already what I even gave them. What's the point in that? Yeah, anyway, I'm going to stop now. So do let me know, what's your main driver for gift giving? What's your definition of true gift giving? Because mine's just a personal perspective. It's not the only perspective, and I know that there are situations where we give gifts and it isn't so much about that. Traditionally we gave gifts to those that we perceived to be in some kind of power over us, and that we gave it to make sure that we were still part of the tribe, whatever that was. So very much fear-based. Do we still have to do that? I don't know. So those are the questions that I wanted to encourage you to ask yourself and see if you can feel differently when you've asked yourself those questions about the acts of gift giving, and also importantly, afterwards, that there are no regrets, no feelings of debt, whether that's financial or otherwise, no sense of obligation, because often that is a key driver, isn't it? That when we give a gift, we feel aggrieved if we don't get something back. But I've been giving gifts and she hasn't given me one back. So why does that matter? Is what I'm asking. I think I'm going to leave it there, and I will wish you a beautiful week as ever. And do let me know any of your comments or thoughts on what I've been talking about. Take care.